Welcome to our first mental health event that we're kicking off today. Thanks everyone for making the time to come along. Hopefully you'll get a lot of value from this session. Before I hand over to Patrick and Lisa, who'll give a better introduction of themselves, I just wanted to give a brief overview of the new employee network that we've started. So hopefully you're aware that we've recently launched off the back of the Mental Health Awareness Week, an employee network. And what we want to do as part of this network is promote awareness of mental health issues, establish mental health support within all departments, and provide clear resources and information to all FT staff. There's a few objectives that we have, but that kind of encapsulates it. We're kind of just getting started, but what we need is everyone to get involved as much as possible. This is just a network and a framework for everyone to participate in. We've got a few ideas of the things that we want to do, but today is our kickoff event. And there's some places you can get involved, and we're always open to more feedback and ideas, but we'll get started with Patrick and Lisa. Let me switch over these presentations seamlessly.
Well, shall I start?
You can
I can do some talking. Thank you very much for the intro. So, thank you very much for everyone taking your time out to come here today. And it's interesting to see how this fits into what the FT are doing. Because, the time that you take for this, you probably think, oh, of course. But it's amazing what we see and how people don't do this. So this is great. This is the first step, maybe second step, maybe you're down your journey quite a long way. And we hope to help, and this is about you guys, okay? So like anything, it's what you make of it. It's not about us, it's not about maybe your colleagues so much, it's about you. And hopefully you enjoy this, because this is about where you spend time with yourself. We think we do, we don't. And we hope we demonstrate why and how you can look after yourself. So, before we go into proper intros, Lisa's got something to do.
Okay, so we want everyone to stand up, to sort of shake off that work. You don't need to do it anymore, just having a break. I want you all to fold your arms.
Okay, nice and comfy.
Yeah. Okay, now what I want you to do is actually fold your arms the other way, because there's two ways of folding your arms. Feels pretty uncomfortable, generally. So the point we're making here is actually we form habits. We basically, the first few times that we do things often create the beginning of a neural pathway, a habit, a way of how we do things. And then we often, our brains automate it to make life easier, so we don't consider every small move that we make. But sometimes it's worth reassessing what you're doing and sort of realising the actions that you're doing and that there are alternatives. So just by, if you folded your arms the other way, this uncomfortable way, for 6 or 7 weeks, it would start to become normal. So it's about realising that you have the power actually to change the way that you approach things and how you kind of look at your life. Cool, Brilliant. We can sit down.
Thank you. So, why are Paddy and Lisa here? My story, we both work in media, have experience working in media. My story is I used to be the scary client. So there are some people here today who I used to be a scary client too. And now you know actually scary clients are actually nice clients. Is that right, Danny? Just about. So I fell into media, probably like a lot of you here. Someone said, do you want to travel around South America with your own credit card? Do you speak Spanish? I said, yes, hell yes. So I worked for an outdoor agency. And then after that, I was like, I want to go a bit broader. So I worked for BJK&E, now Wavemaker. Then I worked for Havas, London and Paris, where I was given $40 million to spend with ExxonMobil, which was quite fun. I got taken out for nice long lunches. All afternoon, I remember that. And Danny, I think we did a couple of, sorry. Oh, sorry, it was from breakfast, wasn't it? Then I went to Starcom, ran UBS, and then I thought, no, sorry, I want to do my own business. And it's interesting, obviously, now we live in a culture and in an industry where people do a bit of that. But it was interesting just seeing along the way, and I carved out a nice little bit of business, and I worked with the FT. I did some work on the fund manager side, so I came and did presentations, and I was going really well last year. In August, I was due to go to Tokyo to do some work with the FT out there. John Slade got me out there. And then I was going to go to Hong Kong to do some other work with a media agency, Fundamental Media, and then I was going to go do some work in New York. My point is that I was fine. I thought I was fine. I was looking after myself. I had a family, 3 kids, all good. And all looking really good. Then I found on a July morning, I was cycling to a Google office in Victoria. And I was cycling, and I've cycled London for 20 years, and I came off my bike. Doesn't happen much. For those of you, does anyone here cycle in London? Okay. So you know what to do, and hopefully, no accidents to anyone. But I came off my bike, maybe law of averages, that's what you say. Didn't know why, even to this day, why I came off. But I came off, I was at the front, there was no one behind me pushing me, there was no cyclist in front of me, there was no pothole, but I came off. Came right smash down on my shoulder, a bit farther. You always get a bit faster than you think, if you like car journeys. I was going faster than I thought. Hit my shoulder, ooh, ow, really hurt. Went to A&E, luckily they checked it out, they said fine. Okay, good. But I wasn't fine, I had a headache. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? Something's happening. And you go with, and I was hopefully I'd look at myself, my feelings, and I wasn't feeling well. My wife and my 3 kids were on holiday. So for those of you with kids or remember being a kid, that gives your parent a pink ticket to go and do whatever they want. I had that. I could go drinking, I could go late nights, I could do whatever I want. Karaoke, whatever I wanted. Come and knock on the door of the FT. But I wasn't feeling well. I just wasn't quite right. 3 weeks later, I wake up, luckily at my parents' house, because I was on my way somewhere, and I stopped over the night. And my mum said, well, are you feeling all right? So I'm fine. Bit of a headache. Scored it, 6 out of 10. So being very British, I was like, no, I'm fine. Called 111. Has anyone here called 111, can I ask? They said, I left a message. I was like, oh, fine, they'll call me back. That's not what to do. My mum was like, no, let's go. Sunday morning, let's go to hospital. Let's go and check it out. I was like, okay. Being very British, fine, I'm fine. Went, luckily, it was a Sunday morning, and they said to me, okay, let's, perhaps we can do a scan. We got the time, Sunday morning, not much is happening. It wasn't Sunday afternoon, where it gets really busy, kids playing and playground stuff. No, none of that, so I went in. They took a scan, then I went away with my mum, sat down, and waited for the results. And hopefully it'll be like, all fine. Nurse came to me 20 minutes later and said, hey, excuse me, could I take you aside, please? I was like, okay. Took me aside with my mum, sat me down, put a screen around us, and they said, we found something in the scan. I was like, what? We found a 4.7 centimeter tumor. Okay. 4.7 centimeter above your left temporal lobe. Okay. Everyone was hugging my mum. It's funny, they weren't hugging me. Probably because I was actually, okay. In some ways, in hindsight, I was a bit prepared for something, and this is how I dealt with it. And more investigations went in, and they found out it's a 4.7 centimeter glioblastoma, the same one that Tessa Hume had. Malignant, grade 4. So pretty hardcore. I was like, okay, here we go. Wow. And like a lot of things in life, not necessarily medical stuff, anything in life, there's no template, really. Like, where do I go? What do I do? Who do I talk to? Who do I know? Sometimes, with doctors, you tend to have stuff. You've got a bad headache, you give you a pill. Cancer, ooh, what is it? How bad is it? So I went on this new journey, and thankfully within a week, I was able to find a surgeon, one of the best in Europe, and he said I could do something this Saturday. So within 5 days, I was under the blade, and he cut out most of the tumor. I was in Queen Square Hospital. My wife came back to see me, and it was an amazing experience, obviously. And I've started that journey, radiotherapy, zip round my head for 6 weeks, then on chemotherapy, which are pills, thankfully, not injections every week. And all that time, I was like, what am I going to do? Is it every month? I just sit and then get treated, go and see my oncologist. How are you doing? Am I right? Okay, come back in 4 weeks' time, and then we'll give you some more pills. And I learned to look after myself better. I didn't sit there. I was proactive. I was positive. And the purpose of today is to share what has helped me, and again, what you should help yourself. Again, this isn't just listen to Paddy's story, go back to your desk job. This is stories, techniques, we have a bit of science here as well with Lisa, to help you, inspire you guys to go how you can look after, prepare yourself for when these things, if not already, happen. And hopefully a bit of fun on the way, okay? So I'll hand over to Lisa.
Thank you. My story is not quite as such a journey. So I've worked in media sales for 15, 16 years. I started off at Dennis Publishing, then I went to the BBC, then I was at Bauer, and lastly I was at G&J with Sadie. So I've always worked in media, that's just been my thing. As I stepped into management and started managing teams of people, I started realising actually the difference that the power of the people make, and if everyone is really engaged in the goals and they really buy into you and they really buy into the ethos, and there's trust and there's lots of things at play, that actually what you can achieve is pretty amazing. But if that's all taken away, nothing to do with the product you're selling, but if all of those things are taken away, you could be working on the most amazing product, but actually things just don't work. And I started becoming very interested in it. I started working with a coach myself. I had a coach who supported me during that time. I started reading a lot about psychology, and eventually I left that job, my last media job, which was actually officially only in October last year, and I've done master's level, I've been working towards it for 3 or 4 years now, but I've completed a master's level qualification in basically in business and exec coaching. And I saw Patrick at an event in February. Yeah. At the time, I'd just finished 2 months of working for the Action for Happiness charity, which was a really, really interesting experience. And Patrick said, let's make something together. And since then, we created this little sort of 1-hour session. We've been to see how many businesses now? Mostly in media. 16 yeah. Businesses in media where we've run this presentation. So that's who we are, and that's how we came to be with you today.
Perfect. And we're going to go, very fast, relatively fast over what we've got to fit in. I know you got your day jobs, but again, this is for you. So we're going to go very fast. Basically, the structure is why. Hopefully, we're talking why. You look after yourself, and then how. Some techniques which you can take away. 2 documents on your sheet, on your seat. One is sort of actions which we'll go through, takeaways. The other one is a feedback form which we'll do towards the end. So just so you know, please don't start reading them now because we'll go through them. Okay, so a bit of theory now. Is that all right? So we're going to go on to the next slide, which is sort of why are we here? And of course, we mentioned this word already, but we want to inspire and create happiness. We live in a society, very British society especially, where certain words we use, we're told not to use, or we feel bad. Happiness still has a kind of a feel, doesn't it? That's what my kids do. Happy, me, you're happy. Well, no, we should be confident. I want to be happy. And I am happy, or I'm not happy. But happiness is something which is a very simple way, which Lisa will talk about now.
Okay, so the thing about happiness is it's not something that you can kind of force on yourself or force on other people. It's got to be kind of a genuine thing. You can't say, right, we're all going to be really happy today. That kind of makes you feel unhappy because you're kind of forced into it. Most of us have been brought up with a concept that if we work extremely hard, then we're going to reach some level of success, and then we'll be happy. And that becomes a blueprint for most of the things you're trying to achieve in life. So whether it be when I get that promotion, when I get the new job, when I manage to buy the house, when I have a child, when I meet my boyfriend, when I have, get a boyfriend, when I lose weight, we're constantly setting goals for ourselves in our minds and thinking, when I reach that, then I'll be okay. But what can happen over a period of time is you're so sort of head down on those goals that you're delaying your happiness, because you'll reach that goal. I got that promotion. Within about a month, you've already reframed what you're going for next. And so when do you allow yourself to kind of wallow in that happiness, or when do you take stock to say, am I enjoying this journey that I keep just setting these goals for myself? So I've been studying a guy called Sean Aker. He's done a really good book called The Happiness Advantage. He did 10 years at Harvard studying happiness, and actually specifically happiness and its results in business, and what the correlation is between those results in business. He did it for 10 years. At the same time, there were like 200 other in-depth research projects that were going on about the effect of happiness in the workplace. And essentially, they all came out with similar results. That basically, if you can find happiness in what you're doing and where you are in your life and in your work right now, you will actually reach your success quicker, because you'll be more engaged in what you're doing. That sounds logical, but most of us do go along thinking, I've just got to work hard, then I'll reach the success, then I'll be happy. But actually it's about finding happiness now, because you'll get to that goal a lot quicker and you'll start enjoying the journey more.
Brilliant. And of course, the goals of the session are, vary. Some of them might resonate more with you or not. Firstly, is well done for coming here, as I said at the beginning, but also well done the FT for setting this up. It's an amazing initiative that you guys have got. It's about you, your well-being. Where we're finding the gap is to help people, educate people about why they need to look after themselves. A lot of companies will do bang, 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 but it's a step sometimes before that. So hopefully this is also about, why do I need to look after myself, or what do I need to be prepared for? Just a little education about trends. We talk and positive psychology, the benefits of that. Another thing that's really important is obviously doing this before we have this trauma. So, for example, on a very basic level in the story is, I've got a son, William, who's 5 years old, and every time we get into a car, no matter if it's a 10-minute or a 2-hour journey, I say, do you need the loo? We've all been here, haven't we? You go to the loo, don't you, before you get on a long car journey? Try and tell it to a 5-year-old. He said, no, I'm fine. So this particular time, I said, William, we're going to go on the car journey, and we're not going to stop. He said, that's fine. Do you need a loo? Just go to the loo. No, I don't. Bit of argy-bargy. This negotiation with agencies, a bit like that, isn't it? Right, I'm going to put my foot down. So we got in the car without going to the loo. 10 minutes later, what do you think? What do you think I heard in the back? Yeah. So, and what do you think I said?
Tough.
Tough. We're not stopping. I need loo, Daddy. No, we're not stopping. 30 seconds later, I need a loo. No one's stopping. We're on a motorway. No, it's a good demonstration. No, we're not stopping. Dad, I need a loo. Takes over everything. It's a bit like this kind of negative aspect of my brain. It slowly takes over more and more. You try not to think about it, but there are techniques. It doesn't work. The more and longer, the more you wind yourself up about it. I was like, okay, 9 junctions. I need loo now. 8 junctions now. 7 junctions. Come on, I'm negotiating here. 6 junctions. I made my point. 5 junctions. No, now. 4 junctions. Now. 3 junctions. Now. 2 junctions. I need to go to the loo now! When you need to go, you need to go. I was like, okay. I was a passenger seat. Literally let back. And he did it. Luckily, drama over. But he was a little kid, and obviously little kids need to learn about life, and so he's learning, hopefully. You go to loo before. You look after your bowels before. So we as adults, we do that because we're very astute and we're very sensible adults. But why don't we look after ourselves before we have these burnouts, before we have these traumas? We don't look after ourselves. And my experience and talking to people and the talks that we give and the work that we do with people helps us demonstrate that, but also gets people to say, yeah, look after yourself. It doesn't mean you have a problem, but it means you're ready for it. It means you're more prepared. Of course, the word death is one of those words of course we don't talk about. It's our one, certainty in life. So those kind of things, I'm not saying you talk about death next, your lunchtime, but it's being prepared. And it's amazing how strong you are when things do happen to you, family, friends. Okay? So just, a bit of eye-opening here. Also, improves performance. This does help at work. As Lisa was saying, happiness drives, positivity and benefits companies, like, these initiatives that are being done now, and also helping make the best version of yourself. So again, these are goals which some might resonate with you. Think about these goals. What is it in for me? What am I going to get out of it? Change is hard. Change is hard, like the arm folding. Whoa, that feels weird. But of course, change is worthwhile.
And quite often you might have a situation, a problem. It might be a work issue or a challenge or like an argument you always have with your auntie, or just you find yourself basically finding yourself in these like repeating problems and challenges, and you always handle them the same way. And what we're trying to sort of say is start handling them maybe a different way to get a different result, but also look at your own lives with a bird's eye view, and actually you might be able to see more clearly about things that you should change.
Great.
So yeah, Sean Aker, this is what he found out, but this is what they all found out. All the results are the same. So the advantage of being happy in the now and happy at work is that you'll be more engaged, you'll be more motivated, you'll be more productive, you'll give better customer service, you'll be a better leader. If you look at it from a HR perspective or on a bottom line in terms of money, 40% of absences from the workplace today are down to mental health issues, and that figure correlates with the NHS as well. So 40% of the registered illnesses at the NHS are down to the mental health issues. So actually, if you can create and support happiness in yourself and in the people in your team or the people that are surrounding you, actually it has a massive difference on the bottom line. You're more likely to stay in a role. I've certainly stayed in some jobs far longer than I should have done because actually I was just really happy there. On a sales point of view, sales uplift, I think, is by 32%. So there's pretty good advantages, business advantages on engagement that you get from creating happiness at work. So what is happiness and how do you create it? Okay, so our bodies release these different chemicals. One of the chemicals that gets released when you're essentially in a happy state is dopamine. Okay, and so how do you release that in yourself and how do you release that in others? So there's some certain techniques that we're going to run through now. So just to say, dopamine is related to feeling happy, but actually your core motivation, feeling rewarded, your connection or your dedication to the plight that you're on. So how do we find that? Actually, it's about celebrating ourselves and others. So, acknowledging, oh, you're really good at that. Or I'm really good at this. This is my thing. I did really well here. It's actually highlighting those positive things about yourselves and the people that you're working with or your people in your family. It's not just at work. People need to feel like they are in control and they have some level of choice. Like we, as human beings, we need to be driving our own ship. Essentially, we need to feel like we're in charge of our own destiny and that we've got choice and that I've chosen to do this project or I've chosen to be in this place in my life. So on a work context, that's giving somebody autonomy on a project. You've probably experienced it. If somebody says to you, okay, you can run that. Actually, suddenly you have this responsibility. It's really important to you because you've got to deliver it. It feels good. You feel trusted. You feel like a genuine connection with it. You've got pride connected to it. Versus somebody who is kind of, well, if you want to know what to do, you've got to come and ask me. Actually, it doesn't feel so good. After a period of time, you don't feel like you're the one that's driving your destiny at that time. So control and choice is really important to give people. So you can either do this or you can do that, or you can own this project. Confidence is really important. Giving it to yourself or finding it in yourself or in others. I do quite a lot of confidence coaching. There's some basic things that you can do. We'll talk about one of them at the end, but essentially like highlighting 3 things at the end of each day that went well and what you contributed towards them. That's a really good way of sort of actually acknowledging, oh, it wasn't just luck that this great thing happened, or it wasn't just that it was somebody else that made the great thing happen. What did I contribute towards it? Well, actually, you can come to whatever realisation that is, but actually finding confidence in yourself and boosting confidence in other people is really important. Certainty and stability, and what can that mean in a work context? Working in a place where you don't feel you trust people, where there might be a lot of closed door meetings, where maybe there's somebody who regularly shouts or something that doesn't make you feel safe. We need to feel stable, or else we're not going to be on our A game. We're not going to be able to really engage in what we're doing because we're kind of always looking out for that threat. But it's about feeling safe and stable where you are, and the team you're working in, the company you're working in, whoever your leaders are. Contribution, again, is, as I mentioned with confidence, it's acknowledging the contribution that you've made and that others have made to certain projects going well. And last one is connection. That's really, really important. We can't live lives where we have some social life and family, connection, friends, all outside of work, and we come into work and we're robots. Doesn't work. You need genuine social connections at work. You need buddies. You need often a bit of banter, or even if you've just got one person that you're genuinely friends with at work that you feel you can share things with. We're at work too long to be robots, and you need those genuine social connections, whether it's just always have a chat with the receptionist every morning and I've always been able to have a laugh with them, but you need that human interaction and that social interaction as well.
Can I ask you here, who here plays a musical instrument? Hands up. Do you mind saying, please? Yes? Clarinet? Guitar? Piano? Piano? Was anyone else who said? Piano. Okay. What about singing? Anyone here sing? Or was in a choir or likes doing it? Yeah?
Take a shower.
Yeah? No? That's good. That's good. We don't do enough of that. All of those things, or exercise, like whatever, whether it be cricket to running, those things in some ways tick all those boxes. We like music. I play the piano. I got into it after my diagnosis much more. Celebrating music, celebrating life, more control. Confidence gives you confidence when you can play a song, which you never knew I did. At the moment, I'm playing City of Stars by La La Land. I'm going to try and sing in it. I wouldn't have done that normally. And of course, certainty. It gives you a bit of stability. Everything around you, but music, you can control that. Contribution. You're contributing around you. My wife does hate me at the moment because I play the same same music all the time. She's like, yeah, but when I play it well, it does contribute to her happiness. I don't know if I could quote her on that. And then also connection. You connect with other people. Again, my wife or other people around you. So again, these are demonstrations, and think about what makes you happy. And of course, do they tick these boxes? And they do, of course. We want to have an exercise now, where on your sheet of paper, the first with the lines, please write, have a think. When were you working at your best and why? First question. And then why, what do you think contributed towards it? Now remember, this is you. This is for you to take away. Just have a quick go. Again, we haven't got much time. Maybe you can pick it up on the way back home or tonight before you get into bed, in bed. Just have a quick fresh eyes on it.
So this is like thinking about a time maybe in your career when you were at work and you were like, I was absolutely on my A game then.
Yeah.
I was thriving at work. I was really happy. I was flying, and think about what was at play. Was it the leader that you had? Was it the project you were working on? Was it how much money you were paid? Was it the people that you were working with? What was it that was happening at that time that supported you to be absolutely engaged in what you were doing, happy and thriving at work?
Perfect. So we'll give you a minute. It's amazing what you can do in a minute. Right, okay, minute up. And again, you can come back to this. This is not school. You're not going to hand this in. We're going to mark you.
But if you can work out essentially what things made you happy or thrive at work before, it doesn't actually have to be at work, it could be in a home setting, and it's about trying to get those into your life now. What needs to change in your current setting to ensure that you start thriving in the role you're doing now?
Yeah. At the beginning, you probably noticed that there was an image of a gentleman looking at these paths. My story in terms of when I was diagnosed, but also our life story, is that in fact our paths aren't carved out necessarily for us. It's more like that field. Imagine standing in front of that field going, where the hell do I go, career-wise? Managing a team, new roles in a company, new responsibilities, trauma, whatever it is, family, being a parent, oh wow. Where do I go? And what you need to do is have confidence, and obviously the dopamine drives confidence to be able to go, right, I go here, and you've got to repeat. Again, that's why, again, the piano is such a good example. I played piano. Repeat. You don't stop there. You've got to keep on doing it. Keep on doing it. And then, of course, before that, then all these paths in your life are done. And, of course, you can change them. It's up to our responsibility to create our own path. And, of course, the other ones always being made all the time. This is a continual process, isn't it? So we talk about 3 powers. Very simple. And you're going to go, yeah, I know that. Well, brilliant if you do. The first one is power of you. And that takes up the most of the content. We don't say thank you to ourselves. Yesterday I was at something called, has anyone here heard of a Jeffersonian dinner? Thomas Jefferson, the US president, ran these dinners where people could debate, and there were certain rules. You sit over a table, you talk about emotion, you don't introduce yourself, so you could have different levels, different types of people there, but the brilliant thing is that the focus is the content. And you talk about life. And the key thing that came out a lot was the power of you. People just need to understand and look after themselves much more. And what we don't do, and the theme yesterday was, it'll be interesting what you think, the sole meaning in life is to serve humanity. The sole meaning in life is to serve humanity. Quite a big one, but it's quite fun. So different people don't know who they are, and you talk about what it means to you. The thing that came out a lot was humanity is very external. Look after other people, my family, my friends, groups, societies, local churches, local associations, local charities. We never look at ourselves. So first step, and I've learned this, I've had to, and I've done, and I've enjoyed it, looking at the power of me and understanding me. What am I like? Has anyone here had a bath at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in the last 3 years? Hands up if you have. Well done. It's an amazing feeling. We never give time to ourselves. When else do you give time? Wake up, get dressed, go down, breakfast, kids or not. Go, commute, work, lunch, work, commute, supper, bed. When do we find the time for ourselves? A bath is a very good one. You can't really be on your phone so much. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, wow. So celebrate that. Again, we put ourselves into boxes. You know, happiness, have a happiness bath. But it's a really, again, look at ways to look after yourself, and it drives happiness and makes you better. Flexible working is a very good idea of that as well, of course, and we are being better at that now. But find what you do, talking to yourself, but out loud. Don't think that thinking is talking. No. Your mind is working so fast. Sometimes when you talk out loud, like I see a psychotherapist. I never saw a psychotherapist before. My oncologist said, why didn't you see one? I said, okay. Saw the first one. She was like, how are you feeling? I was like, fine. Okay, we'll come back then. No, come back next week. Didn't work. Next one, how are you feeling? Are there any particular things that you're doing? And then we got talking. And amazing. Just talk to someone who's independent, who listens, and I can hear myself talk, and I go, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. It's an amazing experience. You find it other ways, going to the pub, talking after a couple of drinks, talking in sort of groups, NCT classes. Why are they so good? They're great because you actually share stories. And you can do, and even these kind of things as well, groups together, talking. Don't assume it's all in your head. Don't build it up. We talk about that actually in a bit. Enjoy your own company. I love my own company. I love it. I listen to music. And obviously we're bucketing, oh, your Paddy's such an ego. No, I'm confident with myself. Okay? Now, this is me having to, in my, where I see my radiotherapy. It's my wife there. Can anyone say what's in my hand? No? It's like it's like spot the difference. What's that? It's a golf club. Why am I carrying a driver to my radiotherapy? I was playing golf afterwards, and I thought, I can't do that. I can't go into a room of 50 people, clink, 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 and it was like waiting for their radiotherapy, zip around their head, clink, clink, and I did. I wasn't trying to prove a point, but I was playing golf afterwards. There were rules, and I thought, and I was questioning, and I was fine, not a problem. The girls in the radiotherapy were like, wow, what is that? And I showed them, swing. But my point is that it was an amazing thing to conversation with myself, and it was fine. But there are different ways of talking and sharing about it. But what it does, it gives you back control gives you control. You have more control than you think. We talk a bit of techniques as well coming up. Okay? Now, the power of you, obviously, the benefits, as I've said, is sharing. So strong.
Yeah, so basically we often have issues that are rattling around in our heads, and whilst those issues are just in your head and you haven't verbalised them, quite often they will become bigger than they need to be, and they can start kind of like dominating all of your thoughts, and it becomes a worry or an anxiety. So what we're talking about here is the benefits of sharing with somebody else. Patrick sees a psychotherapist, but it might just be somebody in your family, it might be a friend. I mean, I go into organisations and I do one-on-one coaching with people. But the whole idea is about, once you start sharing what's going on, once you've almost articulated it, it's like you're drawing a map. But until that point, it's just a drama or something bigger than it needs to be in your head that you can't find your find your way out of. Once you start sharing that story, once you've verbalised it, 8 or 9 times out of 10, you will end up solving or finding a new path out. But it's about saying those words out loud. And whether that be meeting with a friend on a Friday night for a drink after work, and you think, oh, I've got to tell you about this situation. But the moment you start verbalising it, it's actually the beginning of you starting to solve the issue. When you share things with other people, you might also get another person's viewpoint as well. You're looking at life through your set of lenses, which is based on your experiences, your background, your family. We talk about the iceberg in psychology, but you're looking at it through your lens. Actually, by sharing the story with somebody else and then asking, what they think, you're getting a totally different view on what the issue might be. You'll probably get some reassurance. You might get some contextualization. It gives you time to think. We often don't really have any time to think, like properly think. Just if you've got a particular issue, just like have an hour just trying to solve that issue and the headspace to actually do it without all those other things that you've got to do. And it's proven to be a massive stress relief. On the other side, we're going to talk a little bit later about active listening and how if you're the person that and somebody's sharing the problem with you, how you can make the most of it.
Yeah, exactly. So another way of sharing is obviously we share by communication, vocally. Can someone please tell me here, just say, if you're on the phone to a scary client or publisher or journalist or whoever it is, and they say to you, I will let you go now, what do they mean?
Go away.
They mean go away. Yeah.
Might do.
What else?
We're finished talking.
We're finished talking. Yeah. What else do they mean?
I need to go and do something else.
I need to go and do something else. Yeah. Anything else?
They're in control.
Sorry? They're in control. Yeah. Yeah.
Piss off.
It's almost like, oh, sorry.
No, please. Yeah.
It's almost like they put it on you, but actually it's one of their things.
Yeah.
They
So-
want to go.
Yeah. You going to say that? Well done. So they say one thing, but they mean another. And again, we get put in these. This is why change is so important. We get put in these routines. So promise me one thing. If you remember one thing of today, when you're talking on the phone and someone says, "Oh, I'll let you go now," you say to them, "No, I'm fine, thanks." And you will see your handset will shake because they're like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that." See what they say. But it's question that. And this is linked to active listening. Again, this is a sales technique. This is a communication technique that is not rocket science, but we don't mean what we say sometimes, or we mean something else because we're not very good at saying it. So there are techniques to be a good active listener.
So basically, if you're on the receiving end of somebody sharing their problem with you, it's really important that you pay proper attention to them. So you're kind of like not on the phone at the same time. That's the key thing that we do. We're like, yeah, just going to quickly look at this. Look at the person who's talking to you in the eyes. And try not to talk yourself. This is a really good technique of also how to deal with people who might be particularly angry. Okay, so if somebody's really annoyed about something, or they're really angry at you or at a situation, and they're absolutely letting it rip, don't say a word. Just let them get it all out. Especially if you essentially want to placate them, the best thing you can do is actually let them get it all out, almost exhaust themselves. Give them the time and space to do it. They might even cry at the end, or feel like crying, or hide that they're crying, but they need to get that out. And then my advice after that is try not to say anything until the very last moment, until it feels really uncomfortable, and then ask them if they've got anything else they want to add. They might go on for another 20 minutes. But actually you're really serving that person, okay? And after which, once they've got those emotions out, they are then likely to be in in what they call competency mode. So you're in a place where they're actually now rationally ready to look at the situation, but they need to have relived the experience and got it all out to you first. You can ask questions, but as much as possible, I'd say don't say anything. Follow their directions. Your questions you might ask might be reflective questions, like, "Oh, so what you're saying is this? Have I got the gist of what you're saying is correct?" I'm not interrupting them. I'm not saying what I think at that stage. I'm just listening to what they do. Visualize what's being said, and also be really aware of your body language as well. If you're asking someone to share with you, actually, if they're sharing with you and they're kind of really opening up like this, and you're kind of sat there like this, it's not going to be conducive. It's not going to encourage them to talk. I mean, we use this a lot in sales. Essentially, you find out exactly what somebody wants, and then you try and you kind of match what you have, or what, if you can't, find the right solution for them. But just as I'm talking about using this just generally in life, just to serve the people that are talking, and to help people solve problems.
The best salespeople, the best people that I talk to are the ones who start a meeting, especially sort of FT salespeople, who start the meeting by saying, "I can talk about A, B, or C. What would you like to talk about?" They're buying me in. They're actively listening to me. It's not like me going, "Here we go."
And they're
off the
giving you
shelf.
choice and control.
Giving me choice,
basically.
control.
So you've
Exactly.
bought in already.
Exactly. Another thing about active listening, which Lisa touched on, was the power of silence. Amazing, isn't it? Bit of the power of now, power of silence. It can be any context. When you're talking, you don't have to talk. We have to fill that space. No, we don't. Okay? Amazing, just silence. Right, another interpretation. Hand over to Lisa.
Okay, yeah. So I will often do this. This is just to kind of make you aware of what we need as human beings. I will often say to people, oh, I've done this, I've completed the project, or I've done this. What do you think? So what do you think I'm asking for there?
Yeah.
A bit of praise, yeah, all of those things. Human beings, we need to be stroked. That term, it sounds a bit weird to say it, but that's how the psychologists use it. Like we need that ego stroke. We need that attention. If I think about, I've got a child who's turning 2 soon. If he really wants my attention, he goes and puts his hand on the oven. Okay? And so basically, if people don't get the attention that they need in a positive way, often they will find it in a negative way. That's what happens, okay? And it's not necessarily physical attention or an actual physical stroke, it's actually some level of attention, and we strive for it. Now, when I say this, I've got to the end of the project, and what I really want is someone to say, well done. But things go wrong because I say to my husband, oh, I finished this. What do you think? And he goes, well, I probably would have done that slightly different. I don't want to hear it. But I've kind of put him in an unfair position because the words that I've used are actually asking for his views, his critique. I'm saying, can you critique me? What do you think? And then I'm getting cross with him when he does. So it's just to sort of be aware of the words that people are using.
Part of active listening. What do people really mean when they say something? So sometimes remember, it's what they don't say, sometimes, which is more active. The thing also to remember, and this is in my experience I've learned, is that we are more than flesh. And of course, the spiritual side of you can obviously acknowledge that as well. But, for example, my cancer, I've been dealing with it, and I'm okay, it's under control. That's a status I've got. But mentally, it's a separate place. I have these flashes, my mind's playing catch up. I've got to accept it, and of course we have this in life. But it's our brain working at a different rate to other parts of our body. But remember that we're all connected. So whilst we tend to look after ourselves physically, very Western approach is to look after ourselves physically, and also when we've got a problem. Eastern is brilliant. For anyone here, I'm sure, has anyone here, well, I won't ask you, but you'll know, I'm sure, that Eastern medicine has a different approach where it's preparing yourself. You go to doctors when you're well, and very mental as well. That yoga, of course, is linked to that. So everything is connected, and be aware of that, how you work in different ways. Don't just focus on one area, be open. And the hard bit is the feeling, the emotional side. How do we sense that? There's no manual, but again, for you being today here, helpfully, and there will be other initiatives which can help you understand that. I want to do an exercise to demonstrate this. Please put your hands on your knees, face forward. Okay, get comfy and head up, and so look towards me, and please close your eyes. Now, I want you to imagine something, okay? So, everyone close your eyes. Imagine you're in your kitchen, and in front of you is your chopping board. And on your chopping board, oh, hello, there's a massive lemon there, really big lemon. And next to the lemon, oh, hello, there's a nice knife, carving knife. So pick up the knife and carve down the middle of the lemon. Nice, big, and there's probably about, 5 or 6 little carves. Okay, now take one half and cut a slot down it. A nice slice, big juicy slice. You can see some of the lemon juice dripping anyway. Oh, hello. Pick it up, have a little, and fold it so you can see, ooh, okay. And put that piece in your mouth, all of it. Go on, in. Close your mouth. You feel the lemon juice, and bite. Have a couple of bites. Really feel the Joe's juice and the flow. Oh. Now open your eyes. Who here has saliva in their mouth? Who here has a lemon in their mouth? What? How can that be connect? But it is. It is connected. The power you have is stronger than you're aware of. Meditation, all these things help you to calm yourself, to deal with stress, to deal with work, whatever it is. But the connectivity is quite a strong example. That's a good one. So try it on some friends. Try that. Like maybe we're in the pub tonight. Just try this. You can do it in any environment, and a lot of saliva comes out. Okay, so it's all linked. This is a key part, and this is what we feel is very strong, and this is what we're talking in another way. Looking after yourself, because we spoke about why, how. This is what I use, and what I call my circle of strength. I use it, makes me strong, makes me happy. So, I obviously am an oncologist, relatively new. Every month I see him. I go to church. That gives me strength, gives me something to work on. I love the singing. Look after my kids as well. Additional therapy. I take drops, so different drops, homeopathic stuff, including some oil, which is popular in Holland. Exercise. I love running around. I love cycling. I do a bit of golf. I do that. Exercise, focus. Diet. I've changed my diet. No red meat. No dairy. We're the only animal who has other animals' milk. Tastes bloody good, doesn't it? But we have a lot. Again, it's balancing, but you just question yourself. So I don't really do milk. No wheat, gluten-free. Phone, linked to that, well-being, I never sleep with my phone, turn my Wi-Fi off. Have speakers, handset, never talk to my phone like that. Can't be good for you, Pilates, I do Pilates. Never did it before, great. Psychotherapy, we've spoken about. Meditation, trying every day, take 5 minutes. Headspace, we'll come on to that. Hobbies, piano. I love it so much, and a little challenge. Everyone's running marathons, but I'm going to throw a concert for my 40th birthday party. I'll be sending tickets. And then social, friends, and of course my family. I really appreciate. It helps me to look after and appreciate the now. All these things are the now to help me deal with everything. Now, everyone's different. At the end of the day, it's brand safety. Okay? Another way of looking at a marketing angle, it's brand safety. Okay? Now, excuse me. Sorry, Lisa, you're going to have to talk about your one.
Well, it's fine. I was just going to say my circle of strength is very, very different to Patrick's.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do eat red meat, and when I'm not pregnant, enjoy drinking wine. I'm very different, but I think the slide's missing, but my circle of strength is very different, but I've identified the things that make me strong. So for me, it's to do with my sleep. It's also to do with exercising 3 times a week. I need to see my friends once a week. There's a whole set of things which are very, very personal to me. That what I eat's very important. If one of those things is knocked out, actually, I'm not at my best. I'm not at my strongest. I might be having a time where I'm not dealing with life very well, and I can kind of come back to this and go, well, what's not at play at the moment? Oh yeah, I've been eating crap food actually. And it's not been making me feel good. My digestion's gone wrong. And I've worked out that that's very important. So what we want to do in this exercise is for you to establish what makes you strong. It's very personal to you. Yeah. Whether that might be like seeing my mum once a week makes me strong, or it might be cycling, so we've talked about this, cycling to work, seeing my friends once a week, doing yoga 3 times, or whatever it is. This is about time for you to think about yourself, and it's very personal to you, about what things make you strong, what things need to be at play for you to be physically and mentally strong.
So we'll give you a minute to go through that. Just have a think. It's your circle of strength. Okay, a few more seconds. Okay, now we've all spoken about sort of happiness, and happiness is core to another very key phrase, is resilience.
And what we've done by that last exercise, and bearing in mind, like, literally we've given you 30 seconds probably to do that, so you might want to take it away after the session and sort of think about it a bit more deeply. But really, resilience is a massive subject, but essentially what essentially makes you strong, you've done the first part, which is working out what physical things or mental things you can do to make yourself strong. But it's also about getting to know yourself and having emotional intelligence on your own being. So knowing what might trigger you to get upset, and deciding, that's fine, I'll forgive myself. I always get upset about that. It's my bugbear, but I'm not going to let it define me or ruin my whole day. I'm going to give myself 30 minutes to be upset about something. But yeah, so resilience is about working out what makes you strong. It's also becoming very aware of your own emotional intelligence, of what things make you tick, what things you're good at, what things you're bad at, what things annoy you, and why that might be. And the last thing we talk about is managing emotions and moderating stress, which we're going to go on to talk about managing anxiety and stress later.
Yeah. And of course, the circle of strength and the resilience are the kind of natural next steps for us to talk about. Like, we run sort of a couple of our workshops where you can go into digger deeper. But this is a good step to know what you can do and why. Power of senses, again, I was linking to, it's all connected. And again, appreciating them now. Has anyone been to St. George's Hotel in near Oxford Circus? Has anyone heard of it? Brilliant. Go there. 15 floors, so you can go up to the top floor, and there's a cafe there. No one is ever there, because people think you need to be a guest. It's brilliant. You get a 360 view, and you get nice comfy sofas, and you can literally look at those kind of views. I have meetings there. And I was there meeting actually the vicar in the local church, and there's a rainbow. Have you never noticed a rainbow? Yeah, you can see the rainbow in the photo. I was walking out and I saw it. I was like, oh, nice rainbow, as we normally do. And then I was about to get in the lift. The lift door was about to shut, and I came running out. I was like, hold on. And I noticed that the rainbow was shining next to the UCHL hospital, where I was having my radiotherapy. And I took another look, and that rainbow's shining on where I see my oncologist every month. Power of now, active listening, appreciating that moment. You can take what you want from it, but I took positivity, and of course gave me power to say things are happening, someone's looking after me. Yeah? It makes me stronger. Now, obviously, all these things are going to be around you. Have your eyes open, be aware. And obviously the senses, not just visual, listening, music, as I say, other ways. Another way of dealing with yourself is meditation. We've got a link there, but I think just given time, we can't play it, but we'll do a little exercise afterwards. But to explain, meditation is core to well-being, and obviously why. And again, I never really did it before I had my cancer, but I love it now. I do it when I can.
Okay, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about stress and anxiety now. So we talked at the beginning of the presentation about in terms of neuroscience and the dopamine release that you get when you're happy, or when a situation triggers happiness within you. You release dopamine. Now, our bodies and our brains are actually built for a time of scarcity, but we're living in a time of plenty. So they're built for a time when we were like cave people, and we're looking out for threats the whole time. And so somebody's stealing your food or whatever it might be. And that's the way we're programmed. But in the modern day, we don't have that happening, but we have all sorts of other stresses that prompt the same response internally in our bodies. So when we are essentially stressed or threatened, or there's some situation that creates fear, our bodies release cortisol. Now, you might have heard of stories of people finding amazing strength in a crisis situation. So it might be that there was a car crash and then, you know, suddenly somebody was able to go over and suddenly pick up the car, and they had this strength that came from nowhere. But these things actually happen because when you are stressed, when you are fearful, when you are threatened, when you are anxious, your body, your brain releases cortisol, and it mostly goes into our shoulders, and it's there to give us the strength to fight. But we don't need the physical fight nowadays to deal with those stress or those challenges or those threats. That cortisol will sit in your shoulders. And I remember periods of time at work when I was particularly stressed. I might have had 2 weeks of really high stress. And then I would feel, my goodness, I really need a massage. I can't, you know, I feel really locked up. And so how do you get out of it? And how do you get rid of that stress? Well, actually, there's 2 different key ways of getting rid of that cortisol, that stress that sits on your shoulders. And that's through physical exercise. So that might be like running, carrying weights, or swimming, or whatever exercise you do. But using your body will help you release that cortisol. Also, we've talked about this before, in terms of once you're exercising as well, you have to be in the moment. Our brains are constantly looking at the past and looking at the future and kind of worrying about things or analysing things. And actually, by doing exercise, you are in the now. But on a physical level, in terms of cortisol, to release that cortisol, doing physical exercise is really good. The other way of releasing that cortisol is through finding deep relaxation. So how can we do that? Well, there's meditation, mindfulness, but also a very quick technique is you can use your breath as well. And this is the sort of thing I used to use in the workplace when I was particularly had a stressful moment. I might have had a big meeting coming up and you'd suddenly find, I've got that sweaty palm moment happening. And it's literally about focusing on your out breath and sort of almost taking 2 minutes out to walk around the block and focus on your breathing. It's all about your out breath being longer than your in breath. And it can very quickly get you out of that sort of fight or flight mode where you're kind of threatened and into a place where you're a lot more competent.
It's interesting, you know, with this whole talk about companies, and Facebook and Google pride themselves on having company, you know, food in. But in fact, then Michael Bloomberg, when he was building the new Bloomberg office here, said, no, I want my employees to go out. So to finding the time to do that release or to listen and stuff, you know, balancing that, I get it. But it's just an interesting way just to get away. We think we're calm. No. And I want to show you a good example of this. Another exercise. Can I get you to stand up, please? Hands by your side. And you can face forward with me. And we're going to do a breathing exercise. So when I say go, then we're going to take 10 breaths. 1 breath in, 1 second in breath, 4 seconds out breath. Okay? So when I say go, let's do it. Okay? And obviously I'll say stop when we're finished. And obviously close your eyes. So you ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Did anyone's or any of your shoulders drop at all? Any? Oh, brilliant. Been in sessions where they don't. And that's, again, practice. Change. Practicing something. The more you do it, the better you get. I still have to take 3 breaths where my shoulders drop. And again, like Lisa was saying about the cortisol in your shoulders, you think, oh, you're fine. No, I'm fine. You know, if you said to yourself, do I need a meditation? Do I need to take a walk? Do I need to do something at lunchtime? You're probably like, I'm fine. But if you look at yourself in the mirror, you probably wouldn't be. And no, I'm okay. I'm okay. And it's not until you do it, not until you try these things, and you're like, Oh yeah, perspective. We only have one, we don't listen to ourselves sometimes, or we need to take a step out.
We'll talk about it towards the end, but literally taking 1 minute at lunchtime there's 1 minute meditations that you can do, but just to focus on your breath, just taking 1 minute out, just to calm yourself down. Ideally, you'd write down everything you want to achieve in the afternoon, then take 1 minute of actually clearing your head. It's like rebooting the computer and starting again fresh in the afternoon.
So take a seat. Does anyone here use Headspace? Great. Okay, it's a start. You can do 1 minute. Don't complain you don't have time. Or if there are no places to do it, maybe speak to the HR guys or whoever where you can take a room. But don't complain there's not enough time. It's amazing what you can do in a minute.
But don't lose the habit. It's about creating a new habit, right?
Yeah, new
it's
path.
like 1 minute you'll probably feel like a plonker when you first start doing it, right? But it becomes part of your lunchtime routine. And everyone has got 1 minute, but it's enough to basically clear your head in the middle of the day.
Yeah. Another question. Last thing. If someone says that to you, what do they mean? Yeah, good. So there are two things. Is there another one? Okay.
Or they know exactly how to answer because they've already prepared their answer.
They know exactly how to answer, yeah?
Well, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked me that because I know the answer.
More time to think about.
I need more time to think about it, yeah, because it's a good question, yeah?
Or that you've actually been listening to what they've been saying.
Yeah, you're interesting. Anything else? Okay, yeah, all relevant. Another one is obviously, I don't know the answer, yeah? And you sort of touched on it. Good question. When we do talk, sometimes it takes a good 5 minutes before someone says, good question.
Actually mean what we're saying.
Good question. I don't know the answer. Let's find out together. Okay, listening to people. We've done the power of you, again, quite a long bit, but now the power of positives, okay? And these are shorter, these two powers. Very simple, so anecdote. I was, when I came out of my intensive care after my brain surgery, I was sat in a room, my ward, and given loads of pills. And one of the pills was for my bowels. There's a bit of a theme going here, isn't there? And the nurse said, look, take this if you need to go, okay? Because, your body's gone through quite a big process. I was like, yeah, fine, thanks. 2 days later, had I gone? Okay, fine, I'll take it. And I took it, and within 10 seconds, I kid you not. I mean, you think 20, whatever, 5 minutes is quite close. Not when you got to go. Like my son in the car. I need to go now! So I literally was sprinting across the room, like, just get everything out the way. And I looked back, and I saw the pill I'd taken. It was the wrong pill. I'd taken a paracetamol pill. So from that moment, again, like the lemon, you have more power than you think. That inspired me to go to look after myself, to take more control. And of course, take different techniques. So the placebo is another again. But why do placebos work? We have more control. And embrace those and notice those. Power of senses, again, is in different places, emotional as well as physical. This island, I try to play a little concert, but again, the power of sharing, the power of control, playing for myself, enjoying those moments. I create them for myself so that I can make myself stronger, enjoy it, and then move on. One thing that we tend to think about, we don't really appreciate, is we tend to trust our brain a bit too much sometimes. And as Lisa said, we have a fight or flight mode where our brain has stress, anxiety because it looks at the past. What are bad things? I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have done that, I haven't. And therefore it makes sense of the future. I'm going to be like this. Oh no, that's going to happen. Oh no, I'm going to deal with that. Okay? Sometimes when those happen, and like meditation helps you to do this, is to control it, to say, no, stop. I'm getting these flashes in my mind as it catches up. I get these scenarios of my wife sort of looking, sort of being a very stereotypical girl. But my point there is that I need to say to my brain, stop, that's not real. Stop. and you replace it. I replace it with me hitting a 7-iron at a golf course. I love playing it. And you try and have to have change. Control your mind. And it's amazing what you can do. Partner with your mind. Have a conversation with it. Okay? That makes sense.
I was going to say, forgive yourself though for being slightly negative, because actually
Yes.
we're programmed
Yes.
to have a negative bias. So it's like we're like back in that cave. We're programmed to be looking out for threats. So if at the end of the day somebody says, "Oh, how are you? How was your day?" we naturally focus on the negatives. Oh, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. That wasn't good. That's actually how we're programmed naturally to look at those things. But you can train yourself to look at those positives, and it's by looking up those positives and highlighting 3 positive things a day that have happened that can get you out of quite a negative mindset.
Yeah.
There's also something called reticular activating system, which is all to do with beliefs. So you might have had a belief about yourself when you were much younger, or okay, when I started my career I might have thought, oh, I'm rubbish at Excel, and then for the next 15 years my brain is searching for evidence to back up that belief, and that's what our brains are doing. But actually maybe I wasn't so bad at Excel, but I became so entrenched in that belief that I basically couldn't see the wood for the trees. So something we do in coaching is we basically challenge obstacles, perceived obstacles in people's ways.
Last power, gratitude and celebration. Just say thank you. Don't underestimate how important and powerful it is to thank you to everyone, because it means appreciation. And it's as part of that, there's one of the C's that Lisa spoke about. It helps you, gives you power, and helps you feel like the value of sharing. I think you should say thank you for meetings and why. Is anyone here? Well, very American sometimes say a lot of thank yous. I get it, but say why. Say why your thank you, because it makes it relevant. And of course, people say thank you to do, and it makes you feel happy. You give more than you get, and then you get it back. Proof: I am adopted from Colombia. I was in an orphanage, top left. That's the kind of nursery where I was born. That lady runs it in Bogota. And when I was 5 weeks old, my parents came and picked me up and then took me away. I never obviously knew my parents, but there's a whole group of people on the bottom right photo of other kids who've been adopted as well. And there's, just so you know, so most of my kids are adopted. My sister, obviously me, my wife, and then the ladies who run the orphanage. My point there is that I wrote, after, appreciating life and thinking about life, I took 30 seconds to write an email to the orphanage. And I said, thank you. I said, this is the update, and this is my family, photos of my family. And they wrote an amazing response saying, this gives us the strength to carry on in our difficult day-to-day. Your testimony gives our work meaning. I wouldn't have done that 2 years ago. It's amazing, and I feel better for that. Simple things. Just take a sense check and think, well, who can I say thank you to? Practical tips. Well done, guys, for staying awake. We want to leave you, and these are on your sheet at the bottom. We're going to go quickly through them. What we want to do is we're going to ask you who's going to do what. You want to put your hand up at the end, but Lisa's going to explain quickly the 5 different ways, why they're relevant, and hopefully have a think about what you're going to do. Take away. Remember, this is you. Okay.
So there's like loads of happiness consultancies in America that are sent into work with various different companies to create happiness at work, so they can get this happiness advantage and have an uplift by 30%. And a lot of them are coming now into the UK. Essentially, they're encouraging people to do these things. So I'm going to kind of rattle through them. We've touched on these throughout the presentation. The first one is 3 gratitudes. So these are techniques that you can employ on yourself. Or give it to other people. 3 gratitudes, so at the end of each day, just writing down 3 things that have made you happy. Journaling is basically when you're reliving a positive experience. So that might be that you want to write it down, you might want to share it on social media, or you might want to tell somebody. If something great has happened to you, then basically spread it. Because by telling that story again, you're basically reliving it. You're sharing the positivity, but you're going back through those positive emotions. This is how you can find happiness, and you can create a happy environment. Exercising around work is absolutely key, I believe, and it's really well proven as well. Every day, life is going to throw you like some rubbish things and some good things, and it's about becoming resilient and being able to cope with things. Exercising around work means you eat better, you sleep better, but you also have a moment of success and also a moment of control before the days basically hit you. So whatever happened, you might have had an awful day, but I still ran 5K this morning. You know, oh, I still lifted those weights. I still took half an hour out for me, you know? So in all the chaos, I still recharged myself. So exercising around work is an absolutely key habit that you can get into. Meditation or breathing, we talked about, you potentially might just be taking 1 minute at lunchtime, but whatever you need to do to give your brain space, use the breathing technique. There's lots of like breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, and there's lots of complicated things. Just focus on the out breath being longer than the in breath, and that's a really good way of releasing stress and putting you into quite a competency mode to deal with whatever life is throwing at you. The last one is random acts of kindness. Do one of these things every day. It's incredible. That email took him 30 seconds to write. You know, and it might be you're literally, in the morning you dedicate 2 minutes to doing something nice for somebody else. It might be writing an email. Jenny was brilliant in her meeting yesterday. She was really clear when she explained this, or I felt da-da-da-da. It's no time for you to do that, but the impact you're going to have on that other person is absolutely huge. It might be buying a coffee for somebody on the way into work. But all of these are really, really positive things that you can do. It's your good deed of the day. You don't need to make a big thing about it. You're not doing it so you can tell people about it. You're actually doing it to create positivity. And all of those things are kind of contagious as well. You start doing it, other people start doing it, and the vibe lifts.
A bit like the advertising campaign Rolos, give it to, you're sharing. What a great campaign. Give your last Rolo to someone else.
Or whatever.
That's random act of kindness, isn't it? Yeah. Those kind of things. Now, we're going to ask you, please, to volunteer to do at least one of these things. I was going to ask you, maybe, Sam, to give some names, if you don't mind, just so we know. We created some momentum going on here, if you don't mind. And again, you're not going to be labelled. It's just maybe to look out for.
Just put your hands up at who's going to do each one.
So who's going to do 3 gratitudes? Great. And again, have a go, see what you think. Maybe share it with your team. Maybe have an anonymous. Obviously, you don't have to share your name. So yeah, go 3 random acts of kindness.
It's also a great way of working out what makes you tick. Because actually, if you're going to highlight every day what things are making you happy, you can suddenly go, oh, actually, that is really important to me in life, because it always, that's always on my list.
Who's going to do journaling? Anyone? Great. Okay, we've got 1, 2. Yeah, a few people. Exercise around work.
It's a good one.
Brilliant. Again, do what makes you happy.
Yeah, whatever works for you.
Well done. Meditation, breathing. Brilliant. Well done. Just give it a go. Doesn't work. Remember, you've got to keep going with it. Don't just do one time. And also random acts of kindness. Well, nice. And please share that. Share that. That's really fun. Share that. It's amazing what comes out when you do that. So just we're at time, guys. Right, so we're nearly there. So take these tips away from you, and obviously we can do more. Last thing, has anyone here heard of the butterfly story? It's quite a nice one. This is based on fact, but with a bit of creative license. So there was an old lady in her garden one day, doing her gardening, and she walked past a little bush, and she saw a little branch, and she saw this. What's this called? Well done. I thought it was cocoon. Cocoons are for moths, by the way. You learned something today? Don't call this. It's a chrysalis, as you said, the guy said. She saw it, and she was about to walk past it, and then she saw it shaking. She's like, oh, wow. She was looking at it, it was sort of shaking. It's like, okay, here we go. This is amazing. Because, of course, butterflies are one of the most amazing things in life. They are not born, are they? Think about it. What else is not born? They are evolved, don't they? Through their lives as a caterpillar. So she saw it shake. She said, okay, I'm going to sit down and watch it. And shake, shake, shake. Head come out. Pop. Then shake, 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 shake. A little tear down the side. Shake, shake, shake. A bit more. maybe she can see a bit of the rest of the body was wriggling out. Here we go, here we go, here we go. And then shaking more, but no more coming out. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on. Got to get us some lunch. 10 minutes later, still shake, 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 but no more shake. Okay, I've got to help you. And, you know, that's what I want to do. Okay, I've got to. So she went to the kitchen, got a scalpel, little knife, came back. Gosh. Cut on the side, sort of one eye, with her glasses on, obviously make sure she can see it. And then got a bit nervous and put her knife down and waited to see what happened. Shake, shake, shake. Okay, this is probably good. She's saying I haven't cut off anything. Antennae for you. Looking at it. Shake, 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 shake. More ripping, more ripping. Okay, here we go. Here we go. It's going well. Shake, shake, shake. Rip, rip, rip. And then bang, out came the butterfly. Up. She's like, yes! And then the butterfly dropped to the floor. She looked at it. Wings weren't working. Like, whoa, 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 what happened? That's not the story. That's not the happy. She was like, what the hell? I did my bit. And the fact is, and it is a fact, is that butterflies need more struggle. They need to push it into their arms. So once the wings are formed, the butterfly expels the leftover liquid. But the butterflies will slowly fetch and force liquid into their veins to strengthen their wings. There was not enough liquid in the butterfly's wings. Now, basically the reason is that it's a life thing. We all have struggles. We have to accept it. The butterfly has to accept it. And what comes out? A butterfly. Something better than the caterpillar. Change is good. The butterflies change. It's tough. It's a struggle. But when it comes out, it's happier and more beautiful. And of course, we have to do it ourselves. She helped it too much, didn't she? She shouldn't have helped it. It's weird to say. She had the best intentions. We have to take it ourselves. So responsibility, circle of strength, helps you to do that. Now, you can do it yourself. I ruined it. I don't know, give it. This is what it looks like. You can order your own. Get one of these for your team. Coincidence, when I started talking about this, my wife did it at home. Coincidence. She's like, oh, why are you talking about it? Because you can actually literally talk about it. These are photos from my son, Oliver. See the caterpillars making the chrysalists after lots of eating? They provide the food. You don't have to do anything. Everything's in this box. And then you get the chrysalists, 5 chrysalists. And then 2 weeks later, wow. Bring it to a company. Bring it into your team. Try that. And you said, it's like, wow. And you'll see them struggling. And obviously the blood is all there. This is just the beginning, guys. These are your steps. This is your responsibility, giving you control. This is well done, the FT, obviously, for saying, no, a bit of education, a bit of, come on, what resonates with you? Again, look after yourself. Don't wait until you burn out. I do that. I do that through enjoying moments, being in Edinburgh, sunset, sunrise, rainbows, Regent's Park, BT Tower, sunrise, obviously on the Thames, just down the river, Galway, Ed Sheeran concert. I enjoy that moment, and then I move on. Okay? So, we packed a lot in there. Well done. We would love to have questions. There's a bit of time.
We've got time.
If you've got time, we understand you've got to crack on. But remember, you've taken a step out. Bring this into the day. Don't be the separate thing. And of course, we'd love to, follow up. We've got follow-up versions as well. But thank you very much for having us. Questions, please come to us direct as well. Has anyone got any questions? Don't worry if not. Yeah.
How are you now?
How are you now? Thank you for asking. I'm well. Everything's stable. I see my colleagues every month, and I've got a scan on in 6 weeks' time. And I realize, right, okay, you finish your cycle of chemotherapy. Let's see how you're feeling. Maybe you can be proactive. Maybe do some stuff to control it more, to get to reduce it. We'll see. But thank you for asking. I'm well. Part of it is what my doctor says. Part of it is how do I feel. I'm here talking. Thank you.
Cool.
And of course, we've got feedback forms, which we appreciate you filling out.
So thanks so much, everyone. Round of applause.
I'm tapping you.
I think Patty's given us a lot to think about, and it's really helpful to have those practical tips as well that we can all take away. That was really enjoyable. Thank you so much, and thanks for everyone to take the time over lunch and take the time out to be here. It's really important that you've done that as well, so well done everyone here as well. Patty's actually asked that we all contribute to, what was the charity?
So, as in maybe through the FT, the brain tumor charity. So we're not charging for these talks, just so you know. This is
So yeah, we can send a link, or if anyone has any change, we've got a dish at the back, which of course the FT will match any contribution we give, so if you can give generously, that'd be really helpful. We also have a bit of information and support at the back about what we're doing within the FT and some resources that you can have, as well as some stress balls, which we can take away. But again, thanks everyone, and thanks to Patty and Lisa.
Thank you.
Right.